p.m. The Board of Trustees of the Harris County Department of Education is now convened in a board meeting on Wednesday, June 16, 2020, in the boardroom at 6300 Irvington Boulevard, Houston, Texas, at 1:02 p.m. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present in this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to report from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the department are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members have received information related to agenda items on today's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in the closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by Section 55.071 to 55.1.084, inclusive of the Texas Governmental Code. I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking time today to join us and for your interest in the Harris County Department of Education. Now we will have an invocation. The invocation will be done by Ms. Deborah Sanchez Treese from the Communications Department.
Hello. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the blessings that you give us and for the opportunity to gather here today. We thank you for the successful 2021 school year and for your help in meeting the many challenges that we faced. We ask that you protect and guide all our Harris County Department of Education families as we move into the summer. We ask that you give strength, courage, and insight to our board members and staff as we strive to make wise decisions for the good of all who have placed their trust and confidence in us. In your precious name, we pray. Amen.
And while we're standing, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. It will be done by Ms. Melissa Wilder from Choice Partners.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right, now it's time for our open forum where we have public participation. We have a few speakers this afternoon. So pursuant to policy, any citizen that wishes to speak may do so by completing a participation request card available to the board, available at the boardroom at least 10 minutes prior to the regular board meeting. I believe there are 6 or 7 listed. Each member has a total of a maximum of 5 minutes to present. So the first speaker we have on our sign-up list is Mr. Brett Hightower.
Dear members of the board of the Harris County Department of Education trustees, thank you all so much for the time today. My name is Brett Hightower, and I'm here representing my team, School-Based Medical System, a school-based healthcare partnership with Amex School Health Solutions and a federally qualified health center, United Memorial Medical Center. Today, I would like to introduce our new health initiative aimed at providing access to healthcare for all students. Working alongside Healthy Schools campaigns, Healthy Students, Promising Futures, we are developing a sustainable operational model for more than 20 years of trial and error. Health status and academic achievement are connected in the life of a student. Conditions such as chronic illness, physical activity, unhealthy eating, food insecurity, and other health-related conditions have been linked to poor academic outcomes. In turn, students and adults who achieve less academic success are more likely to have long-term health care issues. Many doctors offer appointments during the school day. However, the offices may be far from school. To see the doctor, your child might have to miss school and you might have to leave work, which may not be an option. Our solution is to bring the healthcare to the student. School-based health centers can make going to the doctor as simple as walking down the hall. Staffed by healthcare workers like nurses, doctors, school-based health centers range of services to meet kids and teen healthcare needs. Services can include checkups, lab tests, prescriptions, counseling, and regular visits for problems like asthma and diabetes. A main focus of this health initiative is to bridge the gap in access to healthcare, especially for students from low-income families, but also broaden the spectrum of the full service of the healthcare itself. At school-based medical system, we implement a no child denied policy. No student will be denied healthcare services anytime for any reason. As we develop school-based medical system and begin to present proposals for partnership with specific schools, we do so with these core values: educational success and healthy lifestyles, quality evidence-based health services, parents and students' roles in making healthcare decisions, partnerships, collaborations, and mutual respect in delivering services, multifaceted and effective communication with students, families, and everyone involved, culturally sensitive, compassionate, student-centered, family-involved services, community engagement in planning, implementing, and assessing these services. Our mission statement is very simple. We want to keep the students healthy so you all can keep them learning. Thank you all for your time, and I look forward to assisting our team in crafting a value-oriented request for partnership that will allow Harris County Department of Education to redirect their healthcare budget into other critically needed areas. Thank you so much for your time.
I do have a question, if that's all right. Or no- If it's a substantive question, I cannot ask?
Sir, it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Mr. Is it Syed Jamal? Syed Jamal? I apologize if I mispronounced anybody's name, by the way.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for allowing my team and I to speak this afternoon. My name is Saad Jamal. I'm the Managing Director at Amex Pharmacy, and we're collaborating with School-Based Health Center to introduce the pharmacy side. So this past year, we've been making a lot of technological and software developments, and our goal is to basically make it easy for a student that's taking multiple medications. We basically simplified the process using software. So what we do is we schedule the medication, and then we package the medication in these little pouches, so that now all the student needs to do is rip off the package, and that's it. He can take his medications for the day. So that's what we've done at Amex Pharmacy, and that's what we're doing with Brett Hightower and School-Based Health Center, and that's what we're trying to bring to all the kids at all the school systems in Houston, Texas, hopefully. And thank you for your time. That was my short little presentation for Amex Pharmacy and School-Based Health Center.
Thank you. Our next scheduled speaker is Miss Jasmine Bateau. Thank you.
Hello, hi, my name is Jasmine Bateau, and I'm the chairman of School-Based Health. So our goal is to launch a social determination of health program to address the socioeconomic factors its patients face. Not just on providing high-quality clinical care inside the schools. So in the future program, we will connect low-income patients with food, transportation, utility, and housing assistance. This is about treating the whole person. The majority of the person's health and well-being is this outside of the care delivered in the doctor's office where people live, work, and play. Poor socioeconomic conditions can have a negative effect on your health. So our advocates follow up with the patients to make sure they receive the support they need. The patient's follow-up is the key part of our program. We want to make sure our patients are actually getting the care they need. It's how we measure success. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Mr. Lance Sharp.
How are y'all doing? So I'm going to be acting as financial officer for school-based medical. What we're trying to do is incur all of your healthcare costs. Currently, y'all are paying each of your nurses around $60,000 a year for each of these schools at 4 different locations. That comes out to about $240,000. What we want to do is make it to where you can redirect all of that to hire new teachers, give out money for different allocation resources. And we found that the best way to do this was to retain the current nurses that y'all have and train them to use telehealth systems so we can provide all these services in the school. We would train them, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I look forward to helping the community and moving the school system toward the future.
Thank you.
Board, a question? Just a general question?
By law and by policy, the board is limited to responding to public comment when the topic is not on the agenda, to giving a recitation of fact, providing a recitation of policy, or discussing whether to put the item on a future board agenda.
Yeah,
the only three things that you
what
can
I
do.
was going to ask is maybe this is something that the board might want to consider a presentation from in a future agenda item, or at least where we can ask them questions.
What we'll do when we get to that item at the end of the agenda, we can maybe we can talk about that the last item on the agenda. So, all right. The next speaker will be Miss Natalya Ruiz.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here. I'm going to go ahead and read this just so I don't forget anything. So thank you for your attention. My name is Natalya Ruiz. I live here in this neighborhood at 619 King Street. I have lived at this address for the past 37 years, since 1984. I came here as a young bride, raised my family, nursed my mother before she died, planned to live out my life of retirement right here in this neighborhood at this address. Over the years, I've sacrificed to budget money to keep my home safe and comfortable. I had not planned to move. Now, I'm being uprooted from what I have spent years to build, upgrade, and protect for the parking lot that's planned at the lot, on King Street. The eminent domain factor is pushing me out so cars can be parked. The mere interest from Harris County Department of Education in my home has reduced the value of my home in the open market. With construction plans looming, I have to disclose your future plans to any potential buyers. Who would want to buy a property to be pushed out later under eminent domain? If an investor is interested, they offer a very low bid, but take the risk of facing the same thing I'm facing right now. While I do not want to fight this county process, I don't. I need to be made whole from this process. I need to have enough sale money to move to a home of comparable size in living and land square footage. I also need to be able to purchase a property that keeps me in comparable distance from the downtown area for my commute to work, my family, my friends, everyone in my life. I do not wish to leave the North 610 Loop area. And finally, I do not plan on taking on a new mortgage or debt when my home is paid in full and has been paid for several years. My home has stood up to all the hurricanes and the tropical storms in the past 37 years. It's a strong home. This area also has never flooded, so we're very happy here about that. Since your offer to purchase my home, I have started searching for another home within the area, and it's been very difficult. I need a home that is safe and renovated to see me through my later years. It needs to be renovated and not a fixer-upper. And like my current home, not in a floodplain. The current housing market is showing prices reflecting a great demand for housing. Prices have gone up significantly. If the price seems more reasonable, it will include a bidding war. So, or upgrades that I cannot afford. So the buyer has to be prepared to spend more money than originally planned. This is stressful and very challenging to the buyer, and in my case, me. And finally, when we settle on a price, I request to have up to 12 months to relocate and make the move. The main reason for this timeline, in my case, is the season that we're in right now, which is a hurricane season, not to mention the pandemic that we're going through, and the housing crisis that this city and maybe the whole country is going through. Also, I request that the Harris County please cover the closing costs for my property. I greatly appreciate your consideration, and I hope that my price that has been presented to you all can be found reasonable and acceptable. We've been great neighbors. I really enjoy my neighborhood. We've communicated well together, so I hope that we can reach an agreement today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next scheduled speaker is Mr. Arturo Uriste. Oh, did he leave? Okay. All right. Well, those are all of the scheduled speakers for the open forum portion of the agenda. We will now move on to reports and presentations. The first will be the announcements of awards from the Government Finance Officers Association for the HCDE budget fiscal year by Dr. Jesus Amezcua.
Sorry, just caught me by surprise. I just this is the 14th year in a row that we received that Government Finance Officers Association for our annual budget report for 2020-21, and so this was yesterday. We had our budget meeting, and so that's the process that we submit nationally to the GFOA Association, and they review it, and then they provide you with the notice of award, which is included also in the packet for you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now we will move to item 5B, which is our Superintendent Monthly Report by Superintendent James Colbert.
Thank you, President Norris. I have 4 updates for the board. First, I would like to start by recognizing a new leader to our executive, or not executive, but leadership team. Mr. Parker and Dr. Ned have done a fantastic job in facilitating the interview process for principals. We have been happy to have a number of candidates who've applied for our vacancies that we've had, which is always a healthy sign that we have a great reputation in the county when people are interested in coming here and working here, especially as principal. The process that they went through, you know, they have to go through a small little obstacle course to be able to sit down with me, but they initially go through a screening process. They dwindled that list down to about 6 candidates that they interview, and then those 6 candidates interview in front of a panel, and then 2 candidates get sent to me for a final approval. Today I'm happy to recognize our new principal of High Point High School and Middle School. As she gets ready to stand, please stand and be recognized, Courtney Waters. Give her a hand. Courtney's actually served on that campus for 3 years, has been in the profession of public education for 25 years. Fortunate enough that she knows the culture and the climate of that campus, and I think she's going to do a fantastic job. Hadn't had anyone scream so loud in my office when she found out she got the job. It really kind of scared me a little bit, but we're really excited about her. Next thing I'd like to update you on is the board had selected a subcommittee to conduct and ultimately create the profile for a new board secretary. We've had multiple meetings. Ms. Truitt and her crew have done a fantastic job in organizing that and creating a framework for it. Just so you know, we had 98 applicants for that position in 10 days. 98. Which is outstanding. That was narrowed down to, I think we interviewed 6, and you know, these ladies were very bold and strong to come up and interview in front of essentially a superintendent interview and come in front of 7 to 8 people and sit at a table by themselves. It was very intimidating, but the board did a very good job in trying to get them to relax. Ultimately, that job was awarded to, she's not here right now, Benita Baldwin, who is coming from the University of Pennsylvania, and her first day will be June 28th. And so we're really excited about her. I think she's going to be an excellent addition to our team, and I think she will really take care of our trustees as we move forward with the plans of the organization. And finally, I've really got, this is a 2-part update. 2 weeks ago, I was able to take the board out on what I call board walks. And this is something I've done ever since I've been a superintendent. I'll fill up a car with 3 board members, and we'll go hit campuses and go around the classrooms and check out the kids And then we'll go to campuses. We'll go to the campuses, and after that, we'll go and have lunch and kind of debrief about what we saw, and just kind of reflect on that. Had the opportunity to do that again since we've had COVID. I haven't done it for probably about 18 months or so. But we got a chance to check out the adult ed site where we're building a new building. We went to High Point, we went to AB East, and then we finished our tour at AB West and saw the new school out there. President Norris had the opportunity to sit on a wet swing. And he knew it was wet too. He didn't accidentally ride on the swing and found out it was wet. He knew it was wet. But one of the interesting things that happened on that campus that day that coincides with the last thing that I'm going to talk about is we had a student there who wasn't having a great day. And we got to watch our staff, the professionals, be able to work with this child and de-escalate this child and use all the things that they've been trained to do to try to help this child process his day. And he was having a bad day, and it was a loud bad day. And so I wanted the board to witness what our staff goes through every single day and how much they love and care for our students. And we're not into this mentality of punishment or just housing them, but trying to help them and make them stronger. Well, the interesting thing is you would have thought, I mean, it was loud, you know, and it was kind of intimidating, and, you know, we spent a good 5 minutes or so watching that, and, but I want you to know, 2 days later, I'm gonna pass out some photos to just the board. And this is the same young man participating in the chess tournament. Now, this is a kid that most people would think there's no way in the world you could get him to sit down for longer than 5 minutes. But he sat there for several hours trying to master the game of chess, along with many other students. And so what I say to our board is that these are the type of dynamic programs that we're proud of. These are the things that we try to get our students engaged with. And when you come to our campuses, we don't know why you came there. Really, to be honest with you, it doesn't even matter. We know what we got. And all we're focused on is what we aspire for you to be. And we know one thing, every kid can learn to play chess. And if they get good at it and they understand it, one day they may even be able to apply the principles of chess to life. And that's what we hope that this young man will do. So that's my update, President Norris. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Superintendent Colbert, and that is excellent news. Yeah, I was a part of that trip, in addition to the wet swing, and this is probably the best news I've heard in a while. But yeah, because he was definitely having a bad day, so I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that he was having a better day during the chess tournament. So thank you very much for that update. Now we will move on to the agenda item 5C, which will be the annual division update on Choice Partners by Jeff Drury.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, ELT. Oh, is that better? ELT team members, Ms. Langlois and Mr. Colbert. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to give you an update on Choice Partners. It's been since December of 2019, and I think we either have 4 or 6 new board members since then. So a little bit of this Choice Partners is going to be history, just who we are, where we came from. We're going to be heavy on numbers, but we're going to talk about history. And I know that clock's running already, so I'll try and make it quick. So let's see. First of all, I want to say, Choice Partners, this is a visual of our org chart. I would love to have 19 of our team members here. We've got a great representation. We've got 3 of our team members here. And we've got people at TASBO conferences. We've got them at technology conferences. They're all over the world. And then we've got another handful back taking care of things at the office. So that's what we have. So that's how we're structured. Myself, a couple of assistant directors, Stephen as a senior manager, and the rest of the team. So a little bit about our division goals. everybody knows my saying, we're basically a number. We're a number. Our value is the revenue that we generate. Our goal, one of our main goals, is to generate significant revenue for HCDE to be used as it needs to be used. Also a subject matter expert. That's one of the things that the school districts, cities, counties, all of our members, we call them, which are the customers of our vendors, depend on, is for us to know about the contracts, know about legal procurement, what's required, what's not, and to use those finely crafted RFP templates that Sarah draws up for us. And so the other thing is superior customer service. We're not the biggest in the business. We're probably a middle size as far as what we do compared to a lot of the competitors, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in a minute. And we just would like to make it easy to do business with us as a purchasing cooperative. Okay, this is a little bit of the history lesson. So some of the folks in here may know a little more about Choice, but hopefully it'll educate some of the newer board members a little bit about who we are. Like you saw our org chart a few minutes ago. We've got the full-time employees that are part of the team that writes contracts, advertises them, follows up, works with the vendors, works with the members, kind of, you might say chases, does the collections, does the billing, does the matching of reporting, and quite intensive work regarding our contracts. And until a couple of days ago, we had 2 field reps. One of the other gentlemen will not be with us in the Dallas-Fort Worth area just due to health reasons. And so what we're a compilation of three fingers, if you will. And the first one was a supply catalog. It's been with HCDE back into the 1980s, possibly even before. It's been around for a long time. It encompasses a lot of commodities and things like that. The second finger is Gulf Coast Food Cooperative, which is what we call our food division. And it actually was at Pasadena ISD at one time. September of '99, it was actually a board agenda item to bring it over to HCDE. And we've had that ever since as part of HCDE/Choice. And then we had the facilities part, which does a lot of the construction, renovation, things like that with contractors. So we always talk about, we talk about Choice, but we always talk about there's 3 budgets, there's 3 divisions, so we're always discussing it in that manner. And the facility partners started in '07 as a combined group, as we are now. We've been together since June of 2012 in one company, if you will, one division. Currently, we have over 1,800 members in 43 states, and we have anywhere from 650 to 700 vendors. You've probably seen the list today. It's going to climb way up, but anyway, so we've got a lot to handle. So that's a little bit about us. This is kind of the snapshot of who we are and what we do as far as revenue. Expected for fiscal year 21, which will end in August, we're projecting about $6.2 million in billing, which the way we work is we charge a small fee on the sales activity to our vendors. The members, the governmental entities, never pay a penny. So that's $6.2 million, and our expenses probably around 1.9, so the margin about 4.3. As you can see, we've trended up on the upward slope, and we've kind of remained flat on the expenses. I think that's kind of what most people want to see. Oh, quick. Okay, so we're going to go quick. Is that the 2-minute warning? Okay, good. Woo! All right, we're good with that. Okay, despite the pandemic, a few highlights. We've continued serving members and vendors. This past year, we added 169 new members still. If you see a pie chart of Choice Partners members, probably 70% are within the state of Texas and 30% are outside. But the interesting trend is the last 3 years, it's reversed. 70% of our new members come from outside the state of Texas, with 30% coming from within. So we're continuing to grow geographically across the U.S. Just some of the strengths and weaknesses, kind of some of the obvious things you might think about, some of the cleaning and PPE and things like that. Some of the weaknesses might have been, pencil sharpeners and paper and some of those things that weren't used that much in school districts or at facilities during the pandemic. Trying to run through this real quick. Challenges, just transition to normalcy. This is tremendous. I guess we got the lucky straw, being able to do this first thing more in live. Competition, one of the things that we really have a lot of competition out there. We've got people that are owned by private equity firms. We've got not-for-profits. We've got a lot of people out there beating us down all the time. Last time we looked, there were about 41 purchasing cooperatives operating in the state of Texas. Texas is kind of the ground zero for cooperatives. So we don't just wake up in the morning and people send stuff to us. There's a lot of work. So I'm going to roll on. Some of the future things, we continue working with the ever-growing scope of the marketing. What are they called? You've got the extra letter in there now. The MCE, Marketing Client Engagement. And we get big, beautiful booths like you see in the picture here. Social media, we're building a YouTube channel and podcasts, things like that. I think we are at the end. Is that pretty good, Carla? Okay, now I'd like to answer any questions that anybody might have.
All right. Any questions for any questions or comments for Director Drury? Superintendent Colbert?
Yeah, I would just like to say and point out, Choice Partners is, I call them the Excalibur of Harris County Department of Ed. We do many things at Harris County Department of Ed, but there's only one Choice Partners. And so the revenue that it brings in allows us to be able to create and get into space that we wouldn't necessarily be able to do otherwise. It allows us to lower the tax rate. It allows us to get into like a Fortis Academy and do many of those things. All of the other, many of the other co-ops throughout the state, I didn't know there was 41, I would have thought there's more of that. They're 100% trying to make profit, commissions, quotas, the whole 9 yards. We take every single penny that we make as far as profit, and it goes into our fund balance, which we put out back towards ISDs. We've been able to lower the tax rate 7 years in a row and lower fees while increasing our service area and our effectiveness and creating programs. And that would never happen if it wasn't for Choice. So I commend you, sir, and your staff that does a fantastic
These guys are the
job.
ones back at the office.
And so thank you for all that you do for HCDE.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And Trustee Dick?
Sure. So I know each of the board members has their own little favorite division of the Department of Education, and Choice is probably mine. So Jeff, if there's any way we can help you continue to expand or better Choice Partners, I'd like to know. I think the board would like to know. It's just the structure of utilizing Choice Partners is just a novel approach to education that we should continue to grow on. Because what we're able to do is we're able to take monies or dollars outside instead of using it as a taxing entity. We're able to do voluntary transactions. The profit from those transactions we inject into the education system. It's a really cool method. It's an alternative way of funding public education. I'd like to, look at ways where we can expand it, further develop it. I always say the best way, if someone wants to help public education, join Choice Partners.
I love it.
Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff, make sure you choose your words wisely.
Uh-oh.
You're talking to Representative Dick.
Okay.
You can ask for anything.
Well, part of my answer was going to be I had a marketing prof undergrad at A&M, and he had to be 80 or 90 years old when I was in his class, and he'd always talk about centers of influence. A lot of, I think one of our absolute strengths, and we do well with most of our business, dollar per student, if you will, is in Harris County. And as you go, I always talk about concentric circles. As we go further away geographically, it gets a little tougher. But, it kind of angers me. I've got this competitive side. It kind of angers me that all these other guys from, New York City or whatever, Texas likes to talk about, or wherever they're from, come into Texas and do a lot of business with our giant school districts that we deal with all the time. So I know a lot of the other divisions, a lot of folks up here have a lot of contacts that we may not be able to talk about, or they just may, oh, we just always use those guys. We always use those guys. We always use an RFP. That kind of stuff always, we love that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think a lot of what you're saying, just talking it up, is tremendous. And you know, we talk about us versus the competitors also, is that every one of our employees in the Choice Partners team are government employees. They're not with a not-for-profit or a for-profit, and as we all know, a lot of times those two companies kind of work similar, where, you know, they pay bonuses and commissions and things like that, and they don't use their own contracts. So we always kind of like to talk to our strengths. You always have to work from your strengths, and I think some of our strengths are, number one, the quality of our contract, the service, and we can always do a lot more work right here in our home footprint in the Harris County HCDE served area also. So those would be things, you know, I'm not scared to talk to anybody. Say, I got a guy I want you to talk to. We'll talk to him. You know, we're not selling anything. All we're doing is helping them. I always raise two fingers. We're saving them time and money. We're not selling anything. We're just having them be a little more efficient at what they're already purchasing.
Generating money for the county is what we're doing. We're actually turning a transaction, and instead of increasing taxes, we're turning a transaction into dollars for public education, which is amazing. I love what you're doing. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Good. All right, thanks.
All right. We'll now move on to agenda item 5D, the annual division updates on communications and marketing and client engagement by Dave Einzel and Stephanie De Los Santos.
I was about to say I was impressed with Jeff keeping it short till he answered at the end. He got more minutes out of it. Couldn't help it. Good afternoon, President Norris, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Colbert. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to highlight the Marketing and Client Engagement Division. In front of you is a bag of goodies, which we call HCDE swag. Maybe, Mr. Dick, we can be your favorite now, hopefully. This is our way of showing appreciation for all that you do for our organization. Thank you for everything, your volunteer work. I hope you're not getting paid, just kidding. But my name is Stephanie De Los Santos, and I have the honor of leading the Marketing and Client Engagement Division. Up until recent months, we were called Client Engagement, but we have added the word marketing to our name to bring clarity and as to who we are and what we do. So let me go ahead and click. I want to introduce who we are, the Marketing and Client Engagement team. We are missing one today, but I'm going to ask them to stand up. We have Teresa Juarez here, who is one of our coordinators, Hugo Jimenez, who is another coordinator, and Victoria Cortines, who is an administrative assistant. Janet had to leave on an emergency situation, but she's here in spirit. That is our team. So we're going to go ahead and start. Before answering these questions about who we are and what we do, I'm going to give you the division goals, but I think it's important for me to briefly explain the difference between what we do versus what communications does, because a lot of people get that confused, even our divisions here at HCDE. So although we fall under the same umbrella and we collaborate on most projects, there is a distinct difference between us, and our hope is that you will be able to see that by the end of both presentations, that you can see what we do differently. However, keep this nugget in mind as you hear our presentations, and this will help you. Marketing focuses primarily on the call to action, whereas communications focuses primarily on the story. So if you remember that as we go through our presentations, it will help you. So who are we? You know that now. We're marketing and client engagement, but what do we do? Let me start with the division goals. And you'll see that in front of you. Create, implement, and monitor all marketing efforts for HCDE's 2 enterprise divisions and revenue-generating divisions, and they're listed there. Choice Partners. I think Jeff mentioned something about they were a lot to deal with. Oh, y'all had a lot to deal. not you're a lot to deal with. But Choice Partners is one of my favorite groups to work with. I'm just messing with Jeff. Records Management, Center for Safe and Secure Schools, Teaching and Learning Center, Educator Certification Advancement. And we also provide support to the overall marketing efforts of HCDE. Here are the services that we provide. Quite a bit of bullet points there. I won't go through all of them, but it gives you an idea of some of the things that you probably didn't know we do, but we do. It's trade shows, conferences, branding, image, advertising, analytics, social media, and we collaborate with comms on several marketing collateral, as you see listed there. Key highlights for the year, and I'm going to be quick because Jeff took a lot of time, so like, I can't help it, Jeff. It's just fitting in very well. Key highlights where we launched virtual member trainings and vendor orientations for CP. We work a lot with CP, as you can tell. We launched their first webinar and first panel discussion for CP. Other key highlights include we launched the Take Care Tuesday podcast for CSSS, and we're working on launching Choice Chat for CP. We also launched the quarterly newsletter for the Records Keeper, which is Records Management, as you see the first graphic. We also streamlined the process for sending out newsletters for CP and CSSS. One of my favorite highlights is I love to streamline processes for efficiency, and we do that through publication schedules, marketing timelines, strategic marketing plans, and advertising schedules. The final highlight that we have is we've streamlined the process for education and enrichment blog, the link, and you see one of the e-blasts that we send out every time the link is posted. And overall, we've sent more than 180 e-blasts and 40 plus marketing campaigns. Looking forward, we want to do more advertising, and we want to increase the visibility of HCDE and divisions at the national level through more conferences and more presentations. And I just have 2 more and I'm done. Incorporate instructional how-to videos and more webinars, and provide more training for trade shows, podcasts, and virtual presentations. I hope you have a better understanding of who we are, and you don't get to ask questions just yet, but we'll hear Dave and then you can ask questions. Thank you.
All right, tag me in. I'm it. How y'all doing? I'm Dave Einstein, Director of Communications, and let's go. So our team, excuse me, our team back here, we are few, but we are mighty. We have a lot of new faces this year. Lorena Kazari, our communications manager, started in January. Joshua Wilson, our graphic design manager, started in February, I think. Dominique started a month or so ago, a couple months ago. Sarah McCullough is starting next week. So we have a lot of new faces bringing, excuse me, bringing a lot of new talent to the division. What we do for system support is, storytelling is king. And, this year with the pandemic has been difficult because there wasn't any face-to-face interactions. We did everything on Zoom. And so from our perspective, a lot of things are really different. I got so sick of looking at frame grabs from Zoom that we would use and share in our publications. So we're really looking forward to getting back into the new thing in the coming year. Communications focus is really on the global storytelling for the department. So we touch every division, from facilities to the superintendent, on a regular basis. And our goal is to create the narrative in the public on all of the work that we do for students and educators in the county. Our website, we moved to our website to a new platform this year because a lot of reasons. Our other one was failing, and we needed to do something so that we could move forward. But there's just a few few factoids about our website for the year. We've migrated all the content from our old site. We're in the early stages of customization. What you're looking at now is template driven, and we're working on making it our own. The 5 pillars, our pillars will have customized subsites, so they'll have their look and feel. And something that's really important to us about the site is, excuse me, is the accessibility to it. And Jennifer Simpson, who is, excuse me, who's our webmaster, is really keen on that. She came from the USDA, so she's used to federal compliance for websites, and she brings that sensibility to us, even though we don't fall under those federal regulations. But our site rates above the benchmarks for accessibility and usability, which is excuse me, which is really important for us. Kind of a fun fact about our website is that, and something that this platform and some other utilities that we're using allow us, is to dive really deep into the analytics. And just in June, we've had about 450 internal searches that are people that hit our website and then search it. Yeah, about 450 internal searches. 84% of those were GED and ESL related. Excuse me. So that kind of information allows us to really, fine tune communications in other ways. Oh, thanks. On social media, just a few little factors. We've grown our Facebook following 50% over the last year. And on Twitter, we've had a pretty significant number of impressions for our organization. Our top tweet of the year was from Black History Month that featured Sherry Williams. Our YouTube channel has 740 subscribers. Our most viewed video in the last year was Seeking Special Ed Teachers. It's about 8,500 or 8,700 views as of today. Second is Sarah's FERPA training video that that folks have to take. But we're there to serve. So in print, we do a lot
Hold on. So you mean to tell me that Sarah Langlois' legal training on FERPA was more popular than Captain Super Size?
Just slightly, boss. It was just slightly. It was just slightly, yeah. Maybe by 100, so. So anyway, one of the other things that we're responsible for, of course, are publications. We do them for the system, we do them for divisions, we do them for the superintendent, and they are all over the place on targeting. We do them for stakeholders. And this is something that we did less of this year because, again, we were not face-to-face. We weren't handing things out. We weren't creating collateral that would be taken to workshops and things like that because they weren't having them. So that's something that is ramping back up again. The other thing that we do in graphics is we do more than just publications. We create logos, other graphics, teasers, all the things for things all across the system are created by our graphics team. We also manage internal communications. We do 2 weekly publications. We do the connector, which you guys all see, and we do the hub, which I believe you all are on the mailing list for that as well. The connector, of course, is highlights of the week and the superintendent's report, And the hub is just something that we use to spread information that is of interest to our staff, and also things that they need to know, whether it's a wellness training that's coming up or the flex schedules coming up. During COVID, we went all in on the hub, and every week we had all the news, all the protocols. It just kept going, and it was popular. So we have continued that format, and this is a separate item from the portal. A lot of people call our portal the hub, and this newsletter is separate. And I'll speak to the portal in a minute. We also do video, and we do everything from Captain Supersized to great stories about the work that our staff does with students, and we even do advertising campaigns like this teacher recruitment piece. And I'm going to cue up a little short clip that we just finished yesterday to give you a sense of the kind of work that we do.
He's been diagnosed with autism and emotional disorder, ADHD, and intellectual disorder.
He has Tourette's and autism, and he has a lot of behavior and social issues. He'd tear the room up, and I'd have to come pick him up, or he would physically and verbally assault teachers, where here he doesn't have hardly any days like that anymore.
Okay, all right, cool. We're going to chill out right now, all right?
They have a special behavior plan that they go over with target dates for different behaviors. This doesn't happen in a big public school area. And to be able to teach all these children with issues takes a real special kind of a person.
What about chess? Would that be something that you would want to learn how to do, play chess?
I was amazed by the teachers. They are so sincere, they really care about the children, and they know how to help them. They don't push them away when they're at their worst.
He'll be able to communicate better, and his behavior will be better to where he'll be more successful. And that's what the school has done for him and continues to do. He's in a good place now. I found the right place for him.
I would recommend it to anybody that their child is having struggles in a public school. It's been a total blessing to our family. They gave us hope again.
So as I said earlier, storytelling is our driving force, but we also do training videos with HR. We do stuff with technology. We do anything that needs motion, we do it for the department. And we have an online archive with about 6,500 searchable, caption, tagged images, some of that you see around here, that we use in publications. This is something else that we've really missed over the last year, and we're excited about being able to get out and capture this kind of stuff again. So, as you see, if you look around us, the panels behind me, communications did that. The pictures on the wall, communications did that. The mats in front of the elevators downstairs, communications had a piece of. So, so we really do interface with every department and every aspect of what's going on in the department, and we're happy to do it. Now, looking forward, for the next year, we have our web customization that we're going to continue to do. We're looking to redesign the portal to make it more of an operational vehicle instead of informational, and make it more streamlined. There are documents in it that are, haven't been touched in 15 years, so we're just going to look at things because each division has a space on the portal, so that's a big thing for this year. We have facilities groundbreakings coming up, which communications plays a big part in, as far as planning what those look like, collecting the shovels and the hats and everything else that people wear is something that we do. We're working on an employee recognition process with human resources that you guys will be seeing soon, hopefully. And then, of course, there's convocation, which we play a pretty good piece of. And that's it. And we just continue to shine a light on the work done at the department. Any questions for Stephanie or myself?
Any questions? Thank you.
No, I got it.
Okay.
Okay,
And first,
thank you.
Trustee Davis, yes.
I'm sorry. Thank you all so much for your hard work and dedication. I just have a quick question. Have you all ran like the demographic profile, psychographics of seeing what the county as a whole is looking for in regards to their interest and with trade schools and so forth to give us a better perspective of maybe certain changes in programs?
We haven't done that specifically. I think over time we've done that anecdotally, and I think that moving forward with some of the systems that we've been able to put in place this year, like being able to determine what people are looking for, and that information, when I first came here about 4 or 5 years ago, the top Google searches for HCDE were in Spanish, and they were looking for GED. Okay. We're mindful of the metrics. I mean, I've always been pretty metric driven. This last year has kind of turned that upside down, but yeah, there's a lot more that we can dig into, and that we will dig into. And I am also, just instead of telling people what they want, asking people what they want. I mean, yeah. I'm always that way. I'm a questioner all the time.
And I was just going to add that we do know Harris County is made up of 43.3% Hispanic, just as an idea of what the population is in Harris County.
Mm-hmm.
Trustee Dick, I believe you had a question.
As the superintendent did as well, but so some of the, and I am a big fan of marketing. I absolutely love marketing. So not to take away from what y'all do. Okay, so some of the things I see that that y'all could look at implementing is you can utilize maybe Facebook Live whenever there is a board meeting. You could use that, which would drive up viewers, and that'd be an organic, inexpensive way. There's some type of apps you can get. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but it'll allow you to go live on multiple platforms at once. So that might be, and also it allows you to pre-record stuff, then you can go where it looks like it's live.
Sure.
Fairly inexpensive. I think the membership might have been $1,000 a year or something like that. Fairly inexpensive, but it does generate organic, and it generates interest, right? That's easy, inexpensive ways. Blogs, of course. I think there is a blog, the department has some type of blog where it interviews elected officials. That you could also try to utilize through a Facebook Live or something like that. So kind of getting more into the depths of like a marketing strategy, and I've never thought we spent enough on marketing. And I have a small law firm, and we spend a significant sum on marketing. I just don't think that the department spends nearly enough on marketing. And I don't think it's always a loss of money, because I think there's a way you could position it where you could actually generate more income through marketing. And the way I see it is if you bring more awareness to choice partners, you could utilize that, it would end up bringing in more money through some type of marketing. That would be one path. But I think there's other paths that y'all could find where if you pay attention to, or you bring attention to it, not 100%, but some, maybe like your soft marketing, where it'll end up generating income for the department, where it's not a net loss. I don't consider it loss at all, because it's brand awareness, but where you are able to get more benefit for your buck, or are able to pay for yourself, is ideally, or get close to paying for yourself. Yeah, in that regard, some of the alternative ways of marketing, I like TV. I use TV, even though some people say don't or whatever. You can get it fairly inexpensive. Don't be afraid of using TV. It's a lot cheaper than you'd think. Also, radio, I use that too. Those are both fairly inexpensive ways. And I do appreciate what we're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. We do some stuff on TV. We do YouTube ads as well. I mean, we have a couple little spots. I think as we move forward, we're going to keep expanding that. You know, the Facebook Live thing is something that we'll probably look at implementing more often in the coming year. One, because we'll be at events where we can do things live like that. And we also have some technology where we can do multiple camera Facebook Lives, things like that make it more interesting than somebody just waving their phone in front of a meeting or something like that. So all those things are good points, and they're all things that we're looking at. Interesting on social, especially Facebook, the most engaging posts are ones that are related to job opportunities, recruiting, teachers, and we hit those pretty hard. And it's significant to the point that a lot of the work that we're doing, there are a piece that I was going to show until we got the one that I did show, is our little short 30-second piece on how to be come join our team, be a teacher at HCDE. And, so we know that those things are important, and we're providing content for that to try to help out Head Start, adult ed with students is another one. But yeah, when I was looking at the metrics, it definitely was teaching opportunities, things like that. Therapy services is another one that we will, we'll make posts that are relevant to that, because they're looking to fill some spots too. So, and it's all part of the greater narrative, but we're also just driving action to get people to, help out our divisions and come work here.
So I have another question, if you don't mind. Director Stephanie, you gave me a number, but what was the point?
Because you were talking about demographics, and he mentioned the Hispanic, looking up on the website, and it was majority Hispanic for adult education.
That they were looking for us, or that we reached out to?
That's the number of, he said that was the highest percentage of what is going to our website because of adult education. So correlate that with 43.3% of Harris County makeup being Hispanic. So we've got a huge population of Hispanic, which would tell us why many are going to our website.
Very good. So what is your strategy, grassroots, to reach those that are not coming to the website?
That's a combination between marketing and communications. As we look at analytics is one thing that we do, which Google Analytics is what we use for the website. For social media, they have automatic analytics that we look at. So if we see that we're not reaching a certain target audience, we try to gear our focus to that target audience that needs to be reached.
Okay. Let us know how we can help as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Superintendent Colbert.
Yeah, I'd just like to commend our communications and marketing division. They've grown significantly since I've been here as superintendent, and really gotten more organized and being very skillful and tactical about the people that we've brought in. They have really been able to produce excellent products. Some of the things that they've had to incur is that as they've gotten better at things, they've become more popular by divisions, and so the demand has increased. And sometimes, we have divisions that have to stand in line and wait to get, products, which, you know, the key is trying to expand that department at the rate of the request and being able to continue to promote and advertise and increase the footprint of Harris County Department of Ed. If you go to many of the major conferences throughout the state, you're going to see Stephanie De Los Santos and her crew standing at an exhibit, you know, handing out stuff for choice or whatever. Anytime I'm opening up the educational magazines, I just opened up one yesterday, there's a whole full spread for, you know, the advocacy that Harris County Department of Ed has brought. And so the other thing, and the final thing I'll say is that the creativity that the divisions have shown up with, I commend them for. A lot of times I get some pretty silly and sometimes goofy ideas that I'm just like, go do that, do that. You know, come back, show me what you got. And so they've always been able to meet those expectations. But more than that is the quality of the product.
Yeah.
And so every year we're learning and refining techniques and being able to increase the quality of the product. This year the mailer was really big, thanks to Trustee Dick, who really pressed and pressed and pressed. But even with that, we recognize that we can refine that to make it even more effective. And what's the next message we're going to tell? What's the next story we're going to tell? Knowing, having a better idea of the audience that actually opens those up and reads them. And so I commend both of y'all, your departments, your divisions, all the people that are in it have done an excellent job, and keep it going.
Yeah.
Oh, I think there's a question from Trustee Cantu.
Ms. De Los Santos and Dave, thank you for your presentation and your update. I was actually very happy to hear about the information about who's searching our website. I'm very proud to tell folks in the community that we're the largest adult education program in the state. That's something that is a source of pride for me personally, being a member of this board. And I know that our community has so much potential if we can get more people that are searching for ESL and GED to access our programming and our services. And so my question is, how much of our website is in Spanish? And if there is not enough, or if there isn't any, you know, I want to encourage that we look at least providing some direction. In the meantime, maybe a phone number, you know, some information in Spanish, a phone number where they can talk to someone who's bilingual.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly in our Head Start and our adult ed divisions, there are some small Spanish components. I think there should be much more. And, you know, without using Google Translate, you know, is the thing, because, you know, it's, you know, it is, yeah, it's not great. So, but I'm with you 100%. I mean, we need to have those apply buttons in Spanish. We need to have the forms in Spanish.
Absolutely.
And we do for those targets. But I think it needs to be broader. I mean, the whole site should have a, if nothing else, a condensed kind of highlights that are all in Spanish. And, you know, looking down the road, I mean, it's a matter of time and resources, but, you know, Arabic is the #2 spoken language in Houston, right? Or #3, I'm sorry, #3, English, Spanish, and Arabic. So, you know, if we're going to reach, and I know our adult ed program has, you know, languages from as many countries as are represented in Houston, which is the most diverse city in the country, you know. So, I mean, I worked at HISD for a number of years, and, you know, I saw that. We would do our site in Vietnamese, and we started Arabic when I left, because Vietnamese at the time was 3. So, yeah, I think accessibility and being able to reach all of those.
And we're advocating for more translations, you know, the use of more translations for the Spanish community, but also as well as what Dave is bringing up as well.
Second part of my, or second question is, I heard about, you know, all the great things that you're doing in marketing, you know, all the different media you're using, you know, the billboards, you know, very nice locations, very nice artwork, really good messages. Obviously, the publication that we're sending out, I've gotten many calls and emails and comments about folks finding those newsletters in the mail. And then, of course, your client engagement, you know, at the conferences and stuff. But you stole my thunder. I was going to talk about, you know, the grassroots, the need for a grassroots outreach plan. You know, the old fashioned setting up a table at the community church, you know, bazaars and health fairs at the schools. And so if we don't have someone on staff that has time to do that, then I encourage the administration to look into filling a position that, you know, community outreach person to be that person that's kind of, you know, wearing out their shoe leather and knocking on doors and meeting up with these super neighborhoods and civic groups and church groups and promoting us kind of on the ground level. And I just wanted to kind of encourage the administration to look at that.
Yeah, and I would say if y'all need any, you know, swag or HCDE, feel free to contact me. We have it available to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We do, in response to Mr. Cantu, a lot of the divisions do that work within their division, and we support that effort as best we can. As a communications department, we don't have that, but I think it's certainly something to look at. But we definitely are supporting that amongst the divisions, like the Head Starts and Adult Eds and schools.
As marketing, we actually train a lot of the division leaders who are going out to these smaller places. We train them on how to exhibit, and we provide them with material that they need to exhibit. That's why I was mentioning, if you ever need anything, let us know. But we do some training with some of the divisions that are actively out there in the community.
Sounds good. The benefit of having someone that works either for you or for you doing it, you know, under communications, is they represent the entire department, and they can basically pull out any set of cards, whether it's adult ed or, you know, Head Start or the special schools. And so I encourage y'all to look at that. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? I will just say three things. Thank you. When I actually, before I got on the board, I think one of my first board meetings coming here, I spoke about the fact that nobody knows who we are on the campaign trail, and we have moved a lot further in that direction. So I appreciate all the efforts you're doing. Also, maybe our next publication that goes out maybe needs to be in Spanish. I didn't think about that till we heard this, but that may be a consideration, that our next publication that we send out in mailers may need to be specifically targeted in Spanish, because it's almost half of the county. So yeah, definitely something to consider. And thank you for all the pictures, including the ones on me swinging on swings. So thank you for all the things that you continue to do, both professionally and all those around. So, but thank you very much, and anything we can do, we would glad to be of help.
Just keep swinging on the swing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll now move on to agenda item 5E, which are any other reports from board members concerning attendance or participation or HCDE-related activity, conference, events, activities, or committee, accolades for HCDE staff, members, or other deserving persons. All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item 5F, report of board committees from the committee chairs. Any updates on any from the committee chairs? All right. Seeing none. Moving on to agenda item 5G, the monthly financial reports through May 31st, 2001 by Dr. Jesus Amezcua.
These are our financial highlights as of May 31st, 2021. All our information is posted on our webpage. We'll review the highlights, the budget amendment. Our balance sheet as of May 31st, we have $44,672,345 in assets, liabilities of $2,250,062, and equity of $42,842,192. Our fund balance as of May 31st, we have $44,672,345, of which $9.4 million of that will be used excess between now and the end of the fiscal year. Our financial ratios as of May 31st, we have the percent of fund balance to general fund. Expenditures ratio, we're at 46%, a little bit less than we were at the same time a year ago. Working capital ratio holding strong at $42 million. Unassigned fund balance ratio, we're at 42% versus 48% a year ago. Debt to income ratio, we're at higher at 9% at this time. Tax revenue to total revenue ratio is 20%, and that is because of the capital projects that's in the formula. We're typically in the 30% range. Indirect cost ratio, we're at 3%, same as last year. Our fee-for-service revenue ratio, we're at 14%, a little bit down from a year ago. And then the growth ratio, we're at minus 14% than we were a year prior to that, at 11% growth. Our fund balance budget activity, we had amendments in September through December, January, and May, and so we're going to present two of them later on in the presentation. Our inflows, and that's a new word that I want to start using because the new standards are going to require us to shift from revenues to inflows. There are $123,762,196. We're at 82% in the general fund, 32% in the special revenue funds, and overall we're at 69%. In the expenditures or outflows, we're at 57% in the general fund, 48% in the special revenue funds, and overall we're at 43% year-to-date budget to actual. Our COVID-19 expenditures, we are $937,579 available for the general fund, and then also we have HHS additional monies received. So we have $1,663,253 available in the Head Start program for COVID-19 expenses. Donations for the month of May were $6,236.42, include Case for Kids and technology donations received. Our property values, we started the year with adopting the certified value and also the uncertified value of projection, and that was at $511 billion. Right now we're at $508 billion for the month of May. And so that means that we would have a reduction in the levy of about $24,666 should that stay the same at this time. Our tax collections for the month are $119,812. Year to date, we're at 98.6, and so that's a very good and strong indicator. We were looking at 99% for the year, so we're at 98.6. Year to date expenses for HCAD and tax office fees were $638,814. A year ago, the tax collections were 96.1. They're at 98.6 as of the same time in this fiscal year, which is a very good indicator that things are getting to normal in terms of the collections. Our disbursements for the month were $3,868,005. 414 checks, 660 transactions, and 6 transfers, and all that detail is posted on our website for our check register. In terms of segment division data for educational certification, a negative variance of 296,653. Records management, 414,983. That's expected to even out between now and the end of the year with some summer work that is planned. School-based therapy services at minus 1,234,634, and then the schools at minus 2,154,392. And I'm surprised Jeff didn't talk about this in his presentation, but he said the 71% ratio, year-to-date benefit variance of $3,661,944, or $734,704 above the budgeted projection as of May 31st. Amendments for the month, we are $14,410 in the general fund, and then additional grants that we're receiving for special revenue funds for $1,483,421, and then a facilities fund transfer between the general fund. And so the first one is department-wide for some encumbrances that we roll forward to the internal service fund. So we're transferring $14,410 in encumbrance from last year. And then we received 2 additional grants for Head Start. The first one is the cost of living adjustment for Head Start, $132,576. And then we have additional COVID-19 monies received, $1,350,845, which adds to the previous number that I reported. So that's an additional $1.3 million added for Head Start and Early Head Start. Capital projects, we also have a transfer of funds between the AB East project to the Irvington project as presented in the PFC, that we have our AB East award for the project, and therefore there are funds that are available that can be moved to another project, and that's to the total of $2,469,000 that will add to the Irvington project rather than having them in the AB East, and so those are savings that are transferred to that other project. Facilities support, and that's $14,000. That's the transfer from general fund, so for some expenditures, encumbrances that we had from last year. The Education Foundation update, we have $757,628 in assets as of May 31st, and we have a revenue of $8,820 and expenditures of $332,435. All the detail is attached, so every month we just include all the inflows and outflows for all the transactions in the Educational Foundation. All right, in the PFC and the projects update, we continue to incorporate the small business program for construction, and the first contract that we'll be seeing that is in the AB East project that will be awarded today, expected to be awarded today. The cash balance in the PFC, including the 2020 PFC funds and the maintenance notes, it's $45,281,619 as of May 31st. And we have, in this gives you the by project how much we spend year to date, and so we have $1,267,828 in outlay as of May 31st on all the projects. We will add another slide next time that will have the percentages so that we can track that a little bit, individually, all the different projects. This is the same capital project that was presented on August the 3rd, 2020. And projects underway still is Schoolwood Head Start. We're still working on the due diligence for land acquisition for the project, and the project is under schematic design at this time. That's the first report of the financial statements. Any questions before I move on to the investment side? Okay, on the investment side, I wish I had better news on the interest, but we're still there at the same rates. All of our projects, or rather investment funds, are provided to you here. We have a portfolio of $90,072,062, Public Facilities Corporation of $30,791,973. The portfolio by investment type, we have our funds in the investment pools, and so 96% of our funds are in investment pools and 4% in money market sweep account. In the PFC, 97% is in tax pool, and the rest is on the Bank of Texas. The portfolio changed from a year ago. It's a difference of 41% or, I'm sorry, 106%, or we are at 90,072,062, or a difference of about 46 million difference from a year ago. All our funds are overnight, and with year-to-date earnings of $18,373 and $4,909 in the PFC, earning a whopping two basis points on the bank account, and that's not much less than what you can invest in the pools at 0.01 to 0.05. So it's really very low at this point in time. I didn't think I could get lower than that, and it is the lowest that I've seen it ever. In my 30-year career, I haven't seen any lower than this, so it's like. And so do you see, when you're trying to see, okay, where can I get more money from? It's like, okay, you can get an extra 50 cents if you put it on this other pool, so. Anyway, any questions that you may have?
Trustee Dick? Just to note, Dr. Mesco, you're saying such low interest rates, so on the flip side would be a really good time to borrow money.
Well, actually, to borrow money is higher than these rates because the yield curve on the investment side is a little higher. It is low, I'm not saying it's not, but it is not the rates that you're seeing here. It's probably going to be in the 1.5% to 2% threshold, which is still low.
Historically low.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, if we were thinking about borrowing money, as we are borrowing money, this is the right time to borrow money because the interest rate is very low.
Yeah, at this point in time, you're still in that scenario where it's going to be one of the best times to borrow money.
Any other questions for Dr. Mesqua? All right, seeing none, thank you very much, Dr. Mesqua. We will move on to the action items, the consensus part of the action items. Does any board member have any consensus items that they want to remove to the non-consensus part of the agenda? So, does any board member have anything that they want to remove right now? Okay. Okay. Which one? You said F3? Okay. Trustee Cantu requested that items F2 and F3 be removed. Any other items to be removed from the consensus agenda? Seeing none, all in favor of removing, I'm sorry, yes. Is there a motion to remove, to approve all the action items outside of items F2 and F3 from the consent agenda? So it's been moved by Trustee Duhan and seconded by Trustee Cantu. All in favor? I'm sorry, any discussion? Any discussion on this action item? Seeing none, we'll move for a vote. All in favor? Passes unanimously. 6-0. All right, we will now move on to the non-consensus agenda items. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll move to items F2 and F3. We'll start with agenda item F2. Consider approval of contract award for job number 21-038, which is workforce certificate training for Harris County Department of Education for the Adult Education Division with the following proposals: resource inspired success and empowering for the period of June 16th, 2021 through June 15th, 2026. Is there a motion? Sorry.
So moved.
It's been moved by Trustee Duhan, seconded by Trustee Cantu. Any discussion?
just wanted to get a description, overview of what we're contracting for these services.
Press your button.
The green?
Yeah. Our adult ed team, they're away at a conference today or this week. And so this is this is a vendor that's designed to help out with a portion of our adult ed programming that really works on careers to contact. And so we've contact to careers. We put a lot of emphasis heading into next year and making sure that every person that we come in contact with has a specialized plan, and this is one of the vendors who's going to help us out with that. So keeping in touch with each person who comes into our program to ensure that, you know, they get their GED, their ESL, and then they're also getting some leadership development as well to help them out in the job force.
Is any, I guess, job leads and those kinds of things, is that part of it as well?
Yes. The partnerships with employers is a huge part of it as well.
Any other questions or discussion for this action item F2? Seeing none, we'll move for a vote. All in favor? It is approved unanimously, 6-0. All right, on to action item F3. Consider approval of contract award for job number 21-029IA, Early Head Start Child Care Partnership with the following vendors: Association for Advancement of Mexican Americans, Community Partners, Early Childhood Development Center, and Successful Starters Learning Academy 2 for a period of 7/01/21 through 6/30/22. Is there a motion? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved by Trustee Duhan and seconded by Trustee Davis. Any discussion?
Yeah, I was just looking for a description of, is this a new center or just what this is? I don't know.
Yeah, Trustee Cantu, let me ask Jamise Stansel if she could help us with those two items.
Good afternoon.
Hey, come on up to the mic so they can hear you on YouTube.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Can you inform the board a little bit more about agenda item F3, this specific contract award? Can you explain a little bit more what it is?
These are potential vendors or partners that we could have to expand our current early child partnership program, where we partner with child care facilities to put early Head Start inside of their centers. And it's specifically for early Head Start, 0 to 3.
Yeah, so these are going to be new sites, service sites?
Yes, we were awarded additional funds to expand our early Head Start and child care partnership, and so these would be potential vendors on our child care partnership side.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Trustee Brown.
Is there a certain side of town that these centers are located?
What we were requesting in the RFP, it was for a specific side of town. HCDE Head Start, we service the northeast side of town. Child care partners allow us to venture out a little bit further. So like the advancement for Mexican American child care facility, they're a little farther than we would typically work with. But they're in the facilities, you know, the areas where we could partner successfully. So it's northeast. These three particular ones are on the Gulf Freeway, and then the other two are within the old North Forest area, and then Kashmir Gardens.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion on this action item? Seeing none, we'll move for a vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous, 6-0. All right, we will now move to the non-consensus agenda items. The first being action item 7A, consider ratification of lease agreement with Journey Faith Church for the period of 6/7 21 through 8/31/23 to provide access to the Humble Head Start expansion. Is there a motion? It's been moved by trustee Cantu. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Dick. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move it for a vote. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Any opposed? Oh, that's unanimous, sorry. All right, passes 6-0. We'll now move on to agenda item 7B. Consider approval for HCDE Early Head Start childcare partnerships, contracts with the following vendors: Descott, DBA Cool Kids, Fellowships, Purpose Early Learning Center, John G. Jones Learning Center, Let's Learn Initiative Learning Center. Each contract will be valid from September 1st, 2021 through August 31st, 2022. Is there a motion? It's been moved by trustee Brown, seconded by trustee Cantu. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move it for a vote. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Passes unanimously. On to agenda item 7C. Consider approval of job order contract for the upgrade of the security camera system at HCDE's Westview location with Quality Security Systems in the total amount of $79,018.80. Is there a motion? It's been moved by trustee Cantu. Is there a second? Trustee Davis. I'm sorry. I heard you out of my ear. Sorry, that was trustee Davis. Seconded by trustee Davis. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move it for a vote. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Okay, it passes unanimously. All right, on to agenda item 7D. Consider award of CSP number 21-047 for the new Academics and Behavior School East campus to Construction Ltd. in the amount of $12,348,500. Is there a motion? It's been moved by trustee Cantu.
Seconded.
Seconded by trustee Duhan. Any discussion?
The information was provided at the PFC. I don't know if you have any questions regarding that.
So anybody who I think there was only one trustee that didn't make the PFC meeting. Any questions on agenda item 7D? We had the PFC meeting right before this meeting. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, we'll move it for a vote. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Passes unanimously. All right, we'll move on to agenda item 7E. Consider approval of the Adult Education Professional Development Stipend for part-time and full-time staff effective July 1st, 2021.
So moved.
It's been moved by trustee Cantu. Is there a second? Seconded by trustee Duhan. Any discussion? Trustee Duhan?
Can we just hear a little bit about this? Why is it specifically for adult ed and not other divisions?
Yes, in the past, adult education part-time staff were eligible for stipend through the grant. The grant requires, or the Texas Workforce Commission requires that in the past, part-time instructional and instructional support staff complete a certain number of continuing education hours in order to maintain employment. That requirement now has been extended to full-time staff as well. So these are funds that are available through the grant to meet program requirements of continuing education for all employees, or I say most of the employees in the adult education division.
So there's a new requirement and we're meeting that need?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or discussions on agenda item 7E? Seeing none, we'll move it for a vote. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Passes unanimously. We will now move on to agenda item 8, which is executive session under the Texas Government Code pursuant to all any and all purposes permitted by sections 551.001 through 551.084, included but not limited to 551.071, 551.072, 551.074. We will move to executive session at 2:41 p.m. Now 3:30. We will reconvene from executive session. We want to, so item 9A, agenda item 9A is to consider and approve purchase acquisition of real property near Adult Education Center. And I think there is a,
Yes.
there's a specific language that Trustee Cantu will.
I move to approve the purchases of approximately 0.193 acres of land and 1,350 square feet of improvements, more or less located at 619 King Street, and approximately 0.347 acres of land and 6,000 square feet of improvements, more or less located at 6311 Irvington Boulevard, for a future campus and/or other department facilities, for purchase prices not to exceed the amounts discussed in closed session, and delegate authority to the superintendent and/or his designee to contract for due diligence, professional services, and negotiate, execute, amend, and/or terminate any agreements and closing documents related to the purchases as discussed in closed session.
It's been moved. It's been moved. Is there a second? Oh, Trustee Brown. Okay, Trustee. It was just seconded by Trustee Brown. Y'all speak up so I can hear you, because I can't get a little deaf up here towards the end of the afternoon. So, all right. So it's been moved by Trustee Cantu and seconded by Trustee Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move forward.
Will there be any presentation by the owners of the property?
No. We the only time there is was during public debate. So, all right. Thank you. So, all in favor, signify by raising your right hand. It passes unanimously. That will be the, moving on to agenda item number 10. Is there any discussion and possible action regarding any future agenda items? Trustee Dick?
Yes, I would, I invited Brett Hightower to talk to us. He's doing some interesting stuff where he's partnering with, it's a really interesting business model. And I think I'd encourage the department, if we can, let him do a presentation where we can ask questions, because I think it's interesting. It might be a spot where we can connect. More specifically, what he's doing is, I'm trying to remember this. He's providing like they take the nurses station, and instead of having a nurses station, they have they kind of change it where it's either like a doctor or a pharmacy, and they kind of change it where they're utilizing health insurance, and that's why it's cheaper with the ISDs. It ends up saving them significant money. So I think it's interesting. I think it might be a way for the department to kind of tie in and generate us income and also help out the other school districts. I think it's fascinating.
All right. Superintendent Colbert.
You know, typically, initiatives like that come around, I typically meet with them one-on-one in the office, or I'll have specific cabinet members, and certainly it's in the past, if it's something that I feel like it has legs, or it's something that HCDE wants to attach its name to, then we go through the formal process of bringing it to the board. Never in the past have I seen where, you know, we have an open discussion of back and forth about a new initiative that the department would go in a board meeting. And so I would ask the opportunity for them to present to me, do their presentation, versus coming directly to the board and doing a presentation and asking for approval for it. Because I've even met with some people that even our trustees have known, and more than willing to meet with them at any time. And if it's something that I think it has legs and I'm very honest with them, then, you know, I might send Dr. Rogers and say, go do a site visit of this and let's find out if we can try to move this forward or something like that. So I'd like to give it a good look and have an opportunity to ask ample questions, not necessarily in a formal board setting. And Then if necessary, we could do it in a subcommittee and the board can inquire, or I could present back or have them come to a subcommittee and present at that. It's directional right now is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. It's just, he told me about it, and the easiest thing for me to say is just present it to the board. That's, I just think that's the easiest.
I'll tell you something easier. Tell them just talk to me.
Yeah.
True.
The other point is that, you know, this really, that's a vendor. And so the correct vehicle would have been to direct them to the superintendent and to register on IronWave as a potential vendor. Because if the board starts to entertain, if you do it once, then you'll have to do it, you know, multiple times, and that's a bad place to be in terms of competitive procurement, that you're allowing an audience to one vendor, but you're not opening it up to others out there who do this as well. And so if this is something that the department wanted to venture toward, it would be subject to competitive procurement. And so you would have to put it out on the street to allow anybody who wanted to respond, and entertaining an audience with the board with a potential vendor. And that way would not be my recommendation. And I don't think it would be Jesus's either, not to speak for you.
And I would say it's somewhat out of sequence too, for a vendor to skip over the superintendent and go directly to the board and then come back to the superintendent and ask his team or whatever to promote their product. That's not the direction we want to go in, and that we don't want to set that precedent, especially with the thousands of vendors that are out there literally in Harris County and would love to have access to our reach and our network. And, you know, we do a very good job of trying to maintain and protect the image and the integrity of our brand. And we don't want to co-sign vendors who might misrepresent that, ever. And so we've been very good in the past at filtering that, because we don't want our board members to be misrepresented either.
My note would be that anybody can speak. I don't think that I think anybody can speak publicly, whether it's a vendor, whether it's not a vendor. I don't think we can restrict a vendor. If, let's just say all of our vendors. Yes, I think if all of our vendors wanted to communicate through public comment, they could, and there's nothing we could do unless we change our policy on public participation or something along that. So it's just that's a vehicle for the outside to communicate to us. It might not be our preferred vehicle, but it is a legitimate vehicle.
Any other discussion? And far as I've seen, I've only seen one vendor actually say something. I remember, I think it was a vendor who actually did like a follow-up thank you kind of thing. That's the only thing I've ever seen in public forum, though. I remember, I think it was one vendor, I remember, she just basically said, thank y'all for, you know, I'm going to be different, but that was the only time I've ever seen a vendor have any interaction.
Well, you may have remembered.
I've only been here a couple of years, though,
yeah,
so it might have been before.
There's been an architect.
Oh, okay.
You know, and just traditionally in the profession of public education, it's almost disrespectful for an architect to come to the board and basically, you know, especially when you have projects, RFPs, and this, that, and the other, that's not the protocol. You respond to the RFP, you go through the process where y'all look at the sheets. Coming to a board member meeting or trying to go directly to board members, it endangers board members on that. You don't ever want to be accused of something.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
yeah.
There was that. I forgot about that.
So, and there's that kind of stuff, and that firm is known for doing that. I had a dinner with superintendents last night. That's disrespectful, and that's not the way to go about business. Is, you know, sabotaging a board meeting and trying to advocate for your company. That's not how you get contracts.
In the past, we did, whenever it was a different makeup, we did have a vendor that would, or there was someone that signed up to give a presentation. There was a public presentation. They did sign up to get that. You'd have to give me a minute to remember exactly who it is, but that did happen in the past.
Yeah, and anybody, we can, can come up to public comment for sure.
Can't they do a presentation too?
They can hand out whatever they would like.
Someone did a presentation. It was an outside person actually gave a presentation.
I don't remember.
It was pushed with Mike and the other people. They did do that. I'm trying to. You have to give me a minute to remember who it was.
I'm not. So whether they did do it and whether they should do it are two different things. They probably shouldn't have done that. But anybody could come up here and do a presentation. And to Ms. Lingua's credit, you know, she did good in stopping us. We don't ever want to get involved in the banter back and forth in that part of the board meeting, because that can get out of control.
When it's illegal.
And it can turn into a debate. you know, and that's not what we want to do either. So for someone to do a presentation where we're not allowed to even speak to them and ask a follow-up question, it defeats the purpose of the presentation.
So one thing I don't understand is other education boards and other government entities, whenever someone talks to them, they're able to talk back. I don't fully appreciate why we can't.
If it's on, because it's in the law, and if you look at BE legal, it's in there that you're limited in your response if it's an item that's not on the agenda. If they're speaking to an item that's on the agenda that you've given public notice for, then you may ask questions, you may deliberate either during public comment or when you get to that item on the agenda. But if it's something like today that's wholly not on the agenda at all, you can't deliberate because it's not posted. You haven't given the public notice that the board is going to be discussing that particular topic. So legally, you're limited to, you can give a recitation of fact, you can give a recitation of policy. So if somebody came up and said, HCDE already has shacks in place, and so what we want to do is X, Y, Z for the shacks that you already, school-based health centers that you already have in place. A recitation of fact would be, actually, we don't have any shacks currently. So that's a recitation of facts, or you can refer them to policy. So if a parent was coming and complaining and saying, you don't have any mechanism by which for me to make a formal complaint, we could say the mechanism for that is policy GKD, and you need to follow the grievance policies outlined in the G series. Or the third option is you can discuss what you're doing right now, whether you want to place it on a future agenda item.
It just seems, and from my experience communicating with Houston with their board and Harris County with its board, it just seems inconsistent that you aren't able to communicate back to them.
I can tell you, I don't make the law, I just tell you what it is.
I understand, and I appreciate your interpretation of the law. I'm not saying anything bad about it. Just all I'm saying is at least it seems inconsistent whenever I speak at the city of Houston, wherever I talk to them in the past, about anything, and it also seems inconsistent with at Harris County. That I don't know why, but it feels inconsistent. Thank you.
All right. Are there any other discussion on any potential future agenda items? Trustee Duhon?
Superintendent, can you give us a little bit of an update on what we're going to do to get the word out about the supplies program?
Are you asking about an agenda item, or this isn't discussion about just anything. Are you asking for an agenda item for?
After the board meeting, yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. Sorry.
Also asked, do we need an informational agenda item in the future?
Sure.
Talking about what we're doing to get the word out, or are we adequately doing enough now? Do we need to? First question is, do we need to add it as an agenda item?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking some of y'all can get an update, or all of y'all can get an update in probably about 2 minutes. You don't have to wait till July for your agenda item to get an update. I mean, you're going to get an update as soon as the board meeting's over. We just can't do it during the board meeting. It's not an agenda item.
Okay, but perhaps we need a public update.
Do that.
So what that be doing is, you talking about during the superintendent update? Okay.
We could put that up in front too, Carly.
Okay. Any other potential item? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I think it was moved. I believe it was moved by Trustee Brown, seconded by Trustee Davis. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Passes unanimously. We are adjourned at 3:43 p.m.